Hello everyone, in this lecture we will see the next concept, that is control structures in C++. See, control structures are used to affect how statements are executed. That means what is the flow of control in a program, it is decided with the help of control structures. Okay, basically three control structures are there. The first one is sequence structure, second one is the selection structure, and third one is the loop structure. Okay, sequence structure means it is nothing but the straightforward straight line by line execution of the program. Selection structure means branching, that means branches are there. That means one selection will be provided there. The condition can be either true or false. If the condition is false, if the condition is true, then you just go to the left part of the branch, or you just go to the right part of the branch if the condition is false. Okay, that means depend on the selection, the next flow of the control of program get decided in selection structure. And loop structure, those are nothing but the iteration. That means some number of statements get executed number of times. That is nothing but the loop of structure. Okay, we will see all these three types of control structures in detail. The first one is the sequence structure. Okay, see, in sequence structure, statements are executed one after the another. Okay, that means statements are executed serially from top to the bottom, one after the another. Okay, and sequential structure, it is the C++ default behavior. Okay, C++ default behavior is that it is executing the program sequential only. Okay, see the example of sequential structure. One program is given here, hash include iostream using namespace standard. Int main function, this main function is starting at this point and main function is ending at this point, and it is containing 1 2 3 4 cout statements are there, which are printing something here, and final statement is return 0. Okay, see here, it is just the sequential structure example. That means one by one statements get executed from top of the main function to the bottom of the main function. That is nothing but the sequential structure. Next one is the second type of the control structure, is the selection structure. What is selection structure? It is used to choose among some alternative actions. That means some alternative options are given, alternative actions are there, and we can make the decision which particular action can be taken, which particular selection can be chosen. Okay, see, basically three selection structures are there: if selection, if else selection, and switch selection. Okay, three selection structures are there: if else, and switch. We will see those three also in detail. The first one is the if selection structure. Okay, if selection structure, if it is used to do something if the condition is true. That means if the condition is true, then the statements next to the if statement should be executed. First of all, the syntax of if statement is: if in round bracket mention some expression or some condition here. If this condition is true, then only just immediate statement to the if will get executed. This statement will get executed if the expression or the condition in bracket is true. Okay, if this condition is true, then only the next statement will get executed. For example, if the condition is that grade should be greater than 60. If the grade is greater than 60, that means if this condition is true, then only this next statement, that is cout pass, this statement will get executed by the compiler. Okay, in short, if selection structure is nothing but the kind of selection structure in which if the condition is true, then only the next statement to the if will get executed. Next one is the if else selection structure. See, in if else selection structure, if the condition is true, then if part get executed and else part gets skipped by the compiler. Or if the condition is false, then if part gets skipped by the compiler and else part get executed by the compiler. See, I will explain this part. Initially, just see the syntax of using if else statement. If in bracket mention some condition here, and we are mentioning some execution statements here, and else some statements to be executed are mentioned here. Okay, if this condition is true, then if part get executed and else part get skipped by the compiler. Okay, but if the condition is false, then if part gets skipped by the compiler and only else part get executed by the compiler. Okay. For example, if the grade is greater than equals to 60, then it will print passed, otherwise it will print false, it will print failed. Okay, that means if this condition is true, if the grade is greater than 60, if condition is true, then if part get executed and it will display passed. But if this condition is false, that means if the grade is not greater than equals to 60, then if part gets skipped and only the else part, that means the system will display failed only. Okay, this is the how the if else will get executed. The third selection structure is the switch. See, switch, it is a multiple branching statement which is based on a condition. The control of the program is transferred to one of the many possible points. Okay, that means in switch statement we can have the multiple number of branches and only one of these branch get executed depending on whatever the condition gets satisfied. Okay, for example, see the switch case example: switch to some O, switch to some operator, and in curly brackets we have mentioned the cases like case plus, case minus, case into, case divided by, and default case. Okay, observe the syntaxes here: case space, in single quote we have mentioned the operator plus, colon is there, and then execution statements are mentioned, and the final statement is break. Again the second case in the same way, third case in the same way, in this way. Okay, and the last case is the default case. Okay, that means depending on which particular operator you will pass here, the particular, that only particular case will get executed by the compiler. That means if you are passing the operator plus, then this plus case will get executed, and as the break statement occurs, the control of the program directly transferred to the out of switch loop. Okay, that means rest of the cases will not get executed. If suppose I am passing the operator divided by, then directly that divided by case get executed by the compiler. That means this much of statement get executed by the compiler, and once the program will find the break statement, the control of the program passed outside the switch statement. Okay, and if none of the operator get matched, then by default section will get executed. That means it will print operator not matched. Okay, just remember that if the case get matched, that particular case get executed, and the control get directly passed to the out of the switch statement. But if none of the case get matched with whatever we are passing the parameter to the switch statement, then by default case will get executed. Okay, that is these are the things related with switch selection structure. Next one is the loop structure. Okay, what is loop structure? Loop structure or the iteration structure. Okay, it is used to repeat the execution of some set of instructions. Okay, if we want to repeat the execution of some set of instructions, then we can use the concept of the looping. Okay, see basically three loop selection structures can be there. Three types of loops are there. The first one is the do while loop, and for loop. Okay, we will see those do while loop, and for loop one by one. We will start with the do while loop. Okay, what is do while loop? Do while, it is the exit control loop. That means based on the condition, the control is transferred again back to a particular point in the program. Okay, just see, obviously do while loop, it is the exit control loop. How? We will see it with the help of one example. For example, main function is there, which is starting at this point and ending at this point. We have declared one variable x, which is initialized with value 0, and see the syntax of using do while. Do, curly bracket open, curly bracket close, followed by while, mention some condition in the round brackets. Okay, that means do, some statements are mentioned inside the do loop, and which is followed by the while condition. Okay, see, it is the exit control. That means at the exit point we are mentioning the control condition here in the do while statement. Okay, See the execution of the program, how this particular program with do while loop get executed. Initially x get initialized with 0. Do will occur, that means we are not initially checking the condition, directly we will go into the do loop. There is a cout statement and displaying the value of x. Right now the value of x is 0, that's why in output at the first line it will display 0. Okay, the next statement is x equals to x plus 1. Right now the value of x is 0, 0 plus 1, x will become 1. Okay, then loop closing statement is there, do closing statement is there. We are checking the while condition, whether x is less than equals to 5 or not. Right now the value of x is 1 and obviously 1 is less than equals to 5. Condition will true. Again we will go to the do statement and we will be inside the opening bracket, and this cout statement will get executed and it will print the current value of x. And right now the current value of x is 1, that's why it is displaying 1. Again x get incremented by 1, 1 plus 1, value of next x will become 2. Again we are checking the while condition, whether 2 is less than equals to 5 or not. The condition is true, that's why control get passed to the do statement. We will be inside this do loop, and here we want to print the value of x, and right now the value of x is 2, that's why it is printing 2. Okay, in this way, following this repetition of the loop, it will print 2, 3, 4 and 5. After 5 the value of x will become 6, but obviously as 6 is not less than equals to 5, the condition will become false and we will be outside the do while loop, and return 0 means the program get terminated. Okay, this is the way how do while loop get executed. Now the while loop structure. While loop, it is the entry control loop. Why it is entry control loop? Because at the entry level we are mentioning the controlling condition here. See, the same example is there, but in previous example we have used do while statement. Right now we are using the while loop here. Okay, in previous example we have used do while loop. Now we are using the same program is there, but we are using the while loop here. Okay, see, we have initialized x with 0. While x is less than equals to 5, this loop will get executed. And what we are doing in loop, we are just displaying the value of current x, and after displaying the value of x, we are incrementing that x by the 1. Okay, see the execution of this program. Initially x is 0. Obviously 0 is less than equals to 5. We will be inside loop. We are printing the current value of x. Current value of x is 0. That's why it is printing 0. Again 0 plus 1, the value of x, the next updated value of x will become 1. While loop is closing here. Again the control get passed to the while loop, and we are checking the condition here, whether x is less than equals to 5 or not. Right now the value of x is 1 and 1 is less than equals to 5. Condition is true. We will be inside loop. X, right now the value of x is 1, that's why it is printing 1. Continuing in this way, the execution of while loop will get performed and it is printing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, now see what is the difference between do while and while loop. For example, if the value of x is, suppose if the value of x is initialized with int x equals to 7. Suppose for example instead of 0, 7 is mentioned here. Okay, and at the start of execution only we are checking while 7 is less than 5 or not. Obviously 7 will not be less than equals to 5. Condition is false and we will be outside the program. That means program will print nothing in this case if the x is initialized with the 7 initially. Okay, but in the previous example in do while loop, if this x is initialized with 7, we will see initially we will be inside do loop and cout statement is there. It is printing the value of x, and if x is initialized with 7, it will print 7 here. Output is 7. 7 plus 1, x will become 8, and obviously while 8 is not less than equals to 5. Okay, condition is false and we will be outside the program. Okay, that means this do while loop will print the output 7. Okay, that means in do while loop at least one the statements get executed and then we are checking the condition, but in while loop initially we are checking the condition and then we are executing the statements. Okay, That is the main difference between do while loop and while loop. The last one is the for loop structure. What is for loop? For loop, it is the entry control loop and which is used when an action is to be executed for number of times. Okay, when you want to repeat the actions for number of times, then for loop can be used. For example, main function is there, in which we have declared constant integer upper limit equals to 5. We have declared one more variable int num and one for loop is mentioned here. See the syntax of using for loop. For in round bracket, here this part is nothing but the initialization part. This part is nothing but the initialization part. Semicolon. We must mention the condition here. Semicolon and increment part should be mentioned here. Okay, see here in this for loop, our initialization condition is num is initialized with 1. Our condition is num should be less than equals to upper limit value and the increment part is num plus plus. Okay, num plus plus means increment the value of num by 1. Okay, and this for loop is only printing the value of current num only. Okay, that means initially when this program's execution gets started, upper limit variable get initialized with 5, num will get declared in the memory. As the execution of for loop will start, num will initialize with 1. Obviously this 1 is less than equals to 5. Condition is true, we will be inside for loop. It will print the current value of num, that is 1. Okay, 1 will be printed, closing bracket of for loop is there. Again we will go to the increment part of the for loop. Num value get incremented, 1 plus 1, value of num will become 2. Again we are checking the condition whether this 2 is less than equals to 5 or not. Obviously 2 is less than equals to 5. We will execute the for loop. It is printing the num and current num is 2. Again closing of for loop, the control get passed to the num plus plus. Previous num is 2, 2 plus 1, 3. Value of next num will become 3. Again we are checking the condition, 3 is less than equals to 5. Again we will be inside the for loop and it is printing the 3 here. In this way we will continue the execution of the for loop until this condition will become false, and once the condition will become false, we will be the outside for loop and it will return 0. That is nothing but the termination of the program. Okay, in this way the execution of the for loop will happen here. That's all about this particular session. That is nothing but the various control structures in C++. Thank you everybody.